Hey, this is Seth at Music Teachers Muse. Tune in Fridays PST at midnight for new episodes. See you there. Hey, welcome back. Today we are talking about should parents, siblings, and friends be allowed to sit in on the lessons. So let's get right into it. The pros. Number one, can influence mom, dad, brother, sister, or friend to possibly sign up if they get inspired enough about what you're teaching their friend or sister or brother, whoever it is. So that is definitely a plus because you're always looking for new students. No guarantee of how long any student's going to stick around for. Sometimes you have them for a month, sometimes you have them for 3 or 4 years. It just depends. The other one, the second one, the latter, is not as common, but I have had students for that long before. So you just never know. But that's definitely a good thing to experience because it's just a potential possibility for more students. If it's their first lesson, especially if it's a kid, which most of your students are going to be kids, then it's really actually a good idea to have the parent in the room or whoever's paying for the lessons. Could be grandma, could be Uncle Bob. Doesn't matter. But if it's somebody who's not quite sure that they want to spend their money, by all means, encourage them to sit in on the lesson as long as the kid's okay with it. Sometimes they're not. We're going to jump into that being a possible con a little bit later. But you did get an idea of who you are as a teacher, what you specifically can offer their kid, what they're paying for, the procedural, this, that, or the other at the store or the school you work at. They'll ask you all kinds of questions that you probably can't answer as far as the billing and the scheduling, because at Guitar Center, I never do my own scheduling. Somebody books me and just lets me know, or I get my email that says I've got this student at this time. That's how it is right now because we're still in COVID. But it was like that when I was there in person anyway. And at the mom and pop stores I've worked at or anybody else, just depends on a bunch of variables. But they'll ask you a lot of things. If you work for someone else, you probably can't answer, but just guide on whoever they need to talk to. But literally, it's a good idea so that they can be comfortable as well as the student and they know what they're getting, because that's going to not guarantee, but get you in a lot better place for them to sign up and actually want to start paying. So that's a major plus of having them in the room. So the next pro in having the parent or the student have a friend, or mostly the parent in the room, is if the kid is really shy or doesn't talk very much. I mean, I've had little boys and little girls be this way. They're just kind of like, not to where it's super awkward, but you just got to know that you're a brand new person. They just don't know you. So it's not that they might be scared of you, but it'd be the way I look. I've never had a problem. So it's not a big deal. But having mom or dad or whoever their guardian is at that time in the room with them can help them open up and make it to where the lesson just goes smoother. And you might have to do that for a little while until they get more comfortable with it. So where you can get a rapport with them. Not every kid is immediately cool with you in the first lesson or two, or even the first month. Sometimes it takes them a little longer than that. Usually not super long, but that's definitely a pro because it gets the student more comfortable with you, and it just cements that you're doing the best job that you can with their kid, which makes them happier with your performance as a teacher. So that's a all-around good thing. Now, the cons are, number one, can be very distracting to the student potentially. So, especially with really young kids, you know how short their attention span is. I literally gave last Saturday, I gave a half-hour piano lesson to a kid who wasn't even 5 years old. And the kids love me. I work really well with them. I know they spoke well to me. They spoke highly of me to the lady who booked the lesson. They didn't choose to continue because the kid was just too young. But no attention span whatsoever. Like literally focusing for 2 or 3 seconds on something is something most kids in that age range are incapable of doing. They can, but like if they're watching, whatever I don't even know what a popular kids program on TV is now, but if they're glued to the TV, they can watch that for half an hour, no problem. But for something like music, you tell them, you point at the key and you push the key down, and you have to literally take their hand and put it on there so they know which one to push, because they'll look away and get distracted by anything else in the room. Doesn't matter what it is, it will happen. So it can help it can actually take away from them focusing very well, because they're distracted by whatever the other person is doing, whether they're just sitting there reading a book or they're messing with their phone, which is most of the time anymore. It can be a definite major pain in the ass and make it more difficult for you to help the student concentrate, as well as just make it to where they are not focusing as well. If it gets to be problematic, where that having the student in the room with their mom, dad, brother, sister, friend, then you've got to make sure and make it known that it's not working. Now, sometimes the kid will specifically say, like I've had the parent ask them, "Hey, do you want me in the room today or no?" And sometimes the kid says yes, and sometimes the kid says no, because sometimes, as we went over a while ago in the episode about the mom who kept badgering the student and complained about every mistake that he made. He was 5 or 6. And then we had the mom, especially in this case, who brought her 2 other rugrats who were distracting and wrestling with each other in an extremely small room. And she was also badgering the kid, going in and out of the room several times as her phone kept going off. Dear Lord, that lady was a pain in the ass. But, that's where you got to speak up and say, "Hey, this is not beneficial to your kid. You're not getting your money's worth. And I can't concentrate as a teacher, much less the kid who's got a shorter attention span in the first place. He or she can't concentrate either." So never had that be a problem, but if it does come down to that, just maintain professionalism and tell them, "Look, this is what you're paying for, and it's up to me to decide what is the best teaching and learning environment for your child. So it is not beneficial to them to have you in the room." And where I work at Guitar Center, they have cameras in every room, so they can actually see what's going on in the rooms when they're not even in there. There's no audio, but they can see video. It's a liability and insurance policy for the store and the instructors. And I'm sure it makes everybody more comfortable, even though it wasn't a problem before we had those in there. But where nowadays, where people are offended by and can sue you for practically anything, no matter how minuscule, it's a damn good idea. So the cons are about as equal as the pros, but those are the most basic points I could think of for this episode. So let's recap on everything that we just talked about. So the pros, number one, is that you might potentially get signups out of it. Mom, dad, brother, sister, friend could be interested in what you're doing enough, or what their friend or their sibling or their kid is doing enough to want to sign up themselves. Or say, "Hey, Seth's an awesome teacher," and they know somebody who's interested, you should sign up with him. You might get referrals too. So that's a definite plus. The other pro is that if it's their first lesson or even their first month of lessons, actually we've got 2 more pros, including this one, that they really should be in there, because it's going to make it to where they're going to sign up more likely, because they know what you're like as a teacher and what you're doing, and just your general rapport, your demeanor, how you handle the lesson environment, how you teach the kid. They're going to be more liable to sign up and spend their money because they know what they're getting and they get a better idea of it. They can't get that if they're not in the room with you. It can help the student relax more. If the kid's nervous around you because you're a new person, they don't know you, it's definitely going to be a major plus for them to be able to help the kid relax, and sometimes just get them to talk and open up. And oh my Lord, aneurysm face. "What kind of music do you like?" "I don't know." I don't give a shit if you're 5 or you're 50. If you want to learn how to play a musical instrument, there's got to be some sort of music that you like to listen to. But you'll get that all the time. So the parent will be like, "Yeah, you know what you like. You like Guns N' Roses or Taylor Swift or whatever they like to listen to." And then the kid will be, "Oh yeah, there is some strange evil force in the universe that makes it to where kids cannot or choose not to remember the names of songs and the names of artists they like. I've seen it 1,000 times. I don't know what is so fucking difficult about remembering the name of a song, especially the name of a song that you like to listen to more than once. It makes no fucking sense to me at all, but it's a fact. You're going to deal with that. Trust me, you will. Even though the damn phone, all you got to do is speak into the phone and it'll find it on YouTube. Click. Yeah, they can't fucking remember. Most of the time, like at least 8 out of 10 cases. So, that's a definite plus. The parent can help. So the cons, more distractions for the student. Yeah, I'm just a barrel of laughs, aren't I? Anything that's in that room that can make it harder for the student to concentrate is definitely a definite bad thing, because it's going to make your job harder, especially with a really young kid who can barely focus at all in the first place. So just keep that in mind. And the only other con that's the main con I can think of, and in addition to that, just maintain that if you consider it to be enough of a con to where you can't have the parent or the friend or the sibling in the room, then just let them know. Let the guardian, whoever that is, let them know. It's like, yeah, we really can't have you in the room because it's too distracting and we're not making any progress. And remind them, if they get shitty with you, it'll be extremely rare. But just keep in mind that, or maintain that you're the professional and this is what you're being paid for, and it's your discretion as to what's best for the student, and that's part of your job. So just as long as you're cool with that, you shouldn't have any problem. So thanks for tuning in and watching. Please hit the bell for new videos. Subscribe, like, share. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Check out our sponsors in the description below. And we will see you next week.